This is iRacing.
Well, is anyone going to be able to stop one man dominating the field this series? And it's Andreas Valenteus, who should have the perfect record this season, but does not. And is probably looking to get the perfect record this season. It is still tough, and it might be his biggest challenge. And we come to the home of one of the most iconic corners in the world, the Corkscrew. Today, the Grand Prix legends will tackle Laguna Seca, and you will see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hello everybody, I am Craig King, and with me is my director Christian Deploy. He will be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Now I say it's all about the Corkscrew, but this track has a lot more history than just that, so why not we get a little taste of what we're going to expect today as we go to the GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Laguna Seca. Located just east of Monterey, California, it's hard to deny that this is one of the more scenic American road courses. It travels up and down a hillside which not only offers spectacular views, but one of racing's most iconic corners. Clocking in at 2¼ miles in length, 11 turns split up the current configuration. I say current because up until 1988, the track's layout was shockingly simple with a mere 9 dangerously fast corners. But despite becoming a much more technical track, this difficult nature was retained in its modern form. Turn 6 in particular places an emphasis on precision and daring with its tricky dip at the apex and narrow racing line. But the most well-known spot on the track is of course the Corkscrew. Blind and kinked on entry, it then whips the driver through a chicane which drops you nearly 60 feet. It's earned a reputation worldwide for forcing even the most daring competitors to second-guess themselves. But there's honestly a refreshingly wide variety in types of corners, making it a perfect track for driver coaching and training. Elevation changes, differing cambers, and every sort of apex imaginable leaves seasoned veterans and newcomers alike spending hours trying to perfect a lap. With the track becoming popular for hosting IMSA, IndyCar, and MotoGP in its recent history, it also brings out lots of vintage racers due to the Monterey Historics each year. Likely to remain a fixture on the American racing scene, this legendary circuit is almost always high on drivers' best of lists. Its history and its uniqueness are sure to delight all for years to come.
Well, Joe puts it very nicely, but it's more than just that, as there's not a lot of cars you saw there with the lack of downforce that these cars will be providing today. So it's going to be interesting to see what these old vintage cars would do. They used to drive this track around in cars similar to this, so it kind of feels like a homecoming, but the hard braking, the sliding through the corners like the Corkscrew, the Andretti hairpin, double apex corner, going to be so tough. And remember, they carry so much speed in these Lotuses, or Lotus, to get the correct plural. It is going to be tough to just get hard on the brakes. Elevation changes for some of the braking corners will be crucial, because once you go up the hill, it's not just the Corkscrew that's down the hill. You think about turn 9, that's going to elevation change. Turn 10 as well, slight elevation change. And of course, you're going downhill for the Andretti hairpin. It's going to be interesting today. Do love Laguna Seca. Let's get to those championship standings, though, because I did mention it. Valenteus, in theory, should be perfect. And he is on the basis of 2 drop weeks, because the one time he did not win this season, it's now a drop week. Drop weeks are in play now. And that means Jorge Nueva is only 41 points behind. That's the equivalent of a victory. But he hasn't had a second place for, 2 weeks now. And of course, he's a 1 victory start of the season. Behind Bill Tyler, Kevin Berrugen, Nicola Koshi, and John Olsen, all there battling out for the final podium space. Gary Ho just there as well. And you got Seb Tixier and Jason Clapper in 8th and 9th. Leo Squero just there in 10th. 8 points ahead of Robert Plumley in 11th. I always like mentioning the 11th. Always a tight battle at the bottom of the top 10. And we do have the Formula 2, which is really close. And I cannot wait to see what happens here. Thomas Tuber, just 2 points ahead. And I am looking. He is here today. Roberto Pagazzi, having a quick look myself. Pretty sure he is not here this week. So it's going to be interesting. Could be a bit of a drop week. But look how close it is. Even for the 3rd place. Ben Summers Thomas Willerhausen and Eric Nisi and Tobias Hawani all close up together in the F2s. And finally, it is the Nations Cup. And, well, really, if Valenteus is perfect this season, sans one race, kind of says that Valenteus is leading the championship for Lithuania, and he is. And there is some other drivers from Lithuania who have contributed, which means just ahead there of Spain. Very tight, and it is a one-man wrecking crew when you think with Valenteus. Can't think of the driver from Lithuania who got that points in Fuji. That could help Lithuania get the victory. And then, of course, as I was saying, third and fourth, very close. Look at Singapore as well, fifth there. USA, United Kingdom, they rekindle a little battle over the pond. Let's get to those information of the race. And it's round 9. We're getting close to the end of the season. 25 laps around here today. And it's an open setup. You make a setup, you bring it, and you may use the community setups as well. But remember, you bring it, you crash it, you're done. There's no spare car today, so you got to be careful. And of course, drive-through will be at 17 incident points. Disqualification at 25. Always like to say around here, you might see a drive-through just with the way the elevation changes and the corkscrew can not only cause you to get some off tracks, but could bring a concertina effect. With that, qualifying is underway, and we've got 3 minutes left. So some of these drivers finishing up their qualifying at the moment. Kevin Verbruggen. Just like I said that, Kevin Verbruggen was pole position. He's just been overtaken by the god, Mick Claridge. Still up there and still dominating. Look how close it is, though. Just 700ths between Claridge and Verbruggen. So it goes to the question, where is Valenteus at the moment? His first lap was invalid. Here's the number 26, though. It's Tobias Farney. We were talking about him earlier. He was having his way. Comes up to turn 5. And this is where you start to go up the hill. You'll go under the bridge for this very tricky turn 6. Daniel Murad had an issue about in this corner in the real world last weekend. Not getting the best of time there. It's so tough. There's a little bit of a camber there. And he gets ready to brake. You can't see the corner when you start braking. Hard on the brake, shifting, blipping down the gears. Try to turn it in and get on the throttle. It's so tough there. There is an optimal line, but it is oh so tough. Valenteus is not pole position, as you see in the timing towers. But we're watching Havani come through the final corners. Slows it down for this. Try and get on the throttle, but don't overheat those tires. Don't spin them up. Won't be a lap he wants to. He will stay where he is. Akuliski just going up to P11 as well, but look at that, Valenteus. 4/10 behind Mick Claridge, and this is a second lap. What can he do now as we see the blue and yellow car of Valenteus? We've seen the last 2 seasons running this paint combination coming down, and now you start to see he'll start to put the speed down there. He tries to get on the throttle. Tries to open it up here, opens it up for 10, gets on the throttle early, doesn't want to go off, use the pit lane entrance for all you want. Hard in to 11. You've got a little bit of AstroTurf runoff here, not like it is nowadays. Use every bit of space you can. That's legal, should be legal. Come across the line, it's good, but it does not improve him. He's 400th behind Verbruggen, and he does a spin just to prove his frustration. We're at Nieva. He might be able to do something. He needs to find 4/10 if he wants it. He finds the 4/10 and then some with a 1:22.157. What a lap. Where did he find those 6/10? Who knows? Maybe over at Trengerade, he might be able to find it. Look at that. It'd be nice if he didn't, though, because what a nice time that is at the 0:00. But he wants to be faster than 7th, of course, and it's a very tough miss the apex there. For the final corner, he'll come across the line, the last man to set a qualifying time. It is an invalid time. So that's going to be all she wrote. Get ready in a moment. What a time from Nieva there at the end. Cometh the hour, cometh the driver. Nieva just getting a really good time when it mattered. Might actually need to dip into the stats, though, at some point, because that might be the lowest qualifying position Valenteus has had for a long time, is what we've got to say. But here comes the grid. We talked about it. Jorge Nieva will be pole position with Mick Claridge joining him on the front row in second. And then it's going to be Kevin Verbruggen in third with Andreas Valenteus, the number 1 car, in fourth. Nicola Koshi will be fifth with John Olsen in sixth. Then it's Ove Trengerade in seventh, Glenn Becker in eighth, Seb Tixier will be ninth with Gary Ho in 10th. When we get to page 2, it'll be Aku Liski, who'll be 11th. Arturas Kundalis will take 12th with Robert Plumley in 13th. Mikhail Zabla will take 14th with Benjamin Zoko in 15th with Rowley Wildbank 16th. Kurt Clapper qualifying in 17th. Zandy Bandry 18th. Matthew Mosley in 19th. And Josephine Becker take 20th. Just 11 more cars to go. It'll be Tyrannus Harvey in 21st. Eric S.A. 22nd. Michael Krissinger, 23rd. Thomas Tuba 24th. Ben Summers will be 25th. Peter Gibson will be 26th, the last at the time qualifiers. So the next 5 drivers in order will be Jason Clapper, Thomas Willerhausen, Mats Linden, Donald Peake, and Terra Vita, all finishing in that 31 cars today on a hot day. And I say it's hot. The track temp of 111 Fahrenheit. It's 44 Celsius for those who use the European standings. And it is going to be interesting when you look at the wind today as well, because that's going to be interesting. It's 15 kilometers to the southwest. So they'll be looking at a little bit of a tailwind. The number 2 car lined up beside him will be the number 4 car for 25 laps. And the run down to turn 1 with the cold tires, the slightly warmed up tires, is going to be very interesting as we wait for one more driver. Green flag goes, and away we hit this, and Yeva does get a good start right behind. I don't think Mick gets the best of start. He manages to block off Verbruggen there, so he's clear. And behind, they're almost going 3 wide. Look to see if we see any incidents there. No, the 14 gets on by. It looks like Kundalis had a moment there. Could not find a way to turn in. He's had to take a little bit of damage there, but he's okay. Might get a run in the background. The number 10 of Gary Ho battling the 14 of Glenn Becker to start the race. The front of the field is all very quiet. Ho gets on by. Claridge having a mistake at the start there. Not where he wanted it. And you can see just making a slight mistake, going a bit too wide. Forced it 3 wide on the exit as they start to go up the hill. We have had Gary Ho, Arturas Kundalis come together. There they are slowly going. They were just going up the hill. We'll look at that shortly, of course, but let's get everybody going. Glenn Becker is also caught in this because he did not have the best to start. Down 5 positions to start the race, making a really good run, but Josephine Becker up 8 places to start the race, right ahead of this guy. And it's Rowley Wallbank who is trying to catch up. But that incident with Kundalis and Ho has split the field already. And Valenteus, he does not like not being in the lead. He's trying to get his way by. And straight away, from 1 lap, he's gone 4th to 2nd. Verbruggen's going to try his best to fight this back. Not a lot he can do unless Valenteus makes a mistake and they all concertina up. Not the way you want to start the race, definitely, but we'll start the lap, sorry, as you see Nicola trying to find a way. Turn 2, sorry, the Andretti hairpin kind of got this double apex there. So many people, you can take so many different lines, and it's going to be very interesting to see what lines happen, because you see Valenteus not taking the line he wanted, went a little bit too wide there. So Nicola Koki just now having to hold on, and Mick Claridge as well. The red helmet, I love this with the Lotus 749s. You get the classic helmets when you drive. You really do feel like it is back in the day. And goes on down the hill. That's what you want to see. Notice, though, a lot of debris already. Debris getting kicked up on the exit there, on the inside curb of the corkscrew. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens later on, because more drivers go over that. More drivers going to have some issues. Ove Trengerade trying to get a move on John Olsen. Gets it stuck. And remember, look at the gravel already. Gravel going to stop a lot of traction. But Ove can't get the throttle down. Losing control there. And having to just back out there. Could not get it. He went too hot on the power straight away. And now he's going to try this over-under. But the slow speed. Look at that. 83 kilometers. They're going from 245 kilometers down to 80. hard on the brakes. Arturus Kundelis has not had the best of starts. He's not had the best of finishes. Unfortunately, he has had to take a tow. We're on board with Glenn Becker. He's got all the vitals there. He loses the position in the background. Doesn't matter, though. Keeping it calm. Not exactly the place you want to lose the position into turn 4. If you go side by side too much into 3 and 4, you lose a lot of time. So playing the smart game at the moment. Look at the gravel getting kicked up here. Something the debris refresh has come in the last couple of seasons for iRacing, and it has really helped with the battling. It has really helped just change the strategy. But Benjamin Soko in front, trying to play the defense there, trying to find the line. He isn't, and look how much he's looking left, and look how much he's looking right. Great work there from Cristiano show us that, because we don't see head on, but you can see with how much he's straining that neck. Remember, he's got to look down. He'll look left to look at the apex for the start of the corkscrew, but then you've got to look right, and you're really straining your neck there to look down. Just imagine what they do nowadays in modern cars when they're going faster, because they took a lot of time and a lot of pace off there as Valenteus continues on. Right, this is some replays earlier on. RC a little bit too hot for one of those drivers, and they all come together. Yeah, just a little tap there, all of them just losing it. And that can also be a case of just get on the throttle too much, and we saw with Trengarade losing it out there is, well, go on board with the top 5. Raleigh Wildbank had a moment out there as well, and he's gone down from 14th. In fact, I think he's actually had a connection issue. Yeah, he's disappeared from the sim, so it's not an issue per se. You see Mick Claridge with not a good start. P2 down to P5 already, 2.5 seconds behind Nueva. Just goes to show just that mistake at the start of the race there, just going a little bit too wide through turn 2, costing him a little bit of time. Now he's really trying to find ways by, and he can see Nieva, Valenteus just blasting by, starting to just pull away from everybody, but they're going to get held up in a minute. If they keep battling, these two will get involved. It's John Olsen, Ove Trengarade. Ove is going to try to do the over-under. It's a slow over-under, but the inside's been left open. If Trengarade gets a good run here, he might be able to do something. And you see the defense once again. Valenteus fastest lap once again, but here you see, can Ove do this over-under? Something he's really good at. Claridge getting ahead as well, just up ahead. So we just talked about that battle, but Ove, unable to get past John Olsen. He's going to try it. He's going to try this into 3. Very risky. It's not there at the moment. A little bit of overlap, gets off the throttle. Again, he's done that a couple times now, and I'm not blaming him. I've tried these cars. You get on the throttle too early or too hard, we're going to have that moment out there. See Valenteus, come on. Just a report there. That was Wallbank. He has unfortunately now left the sim, so obviously some connection issues for him there as Valenteus goes up the field. Not a lot of places to look for an overtake here. You've got to be side by side. Hard to overshoot and outbrake someone in these cars. But it can be done. It can be done, but the more they keep fighting, the more Kevin Verbruggen starts to catch up to them. And this could be a free-car field, and Valenteus might just be in a little bit of a bother here, because it will be starting to just lose some time out there. So keep your eyes on there. I do see as well we've had a bit of an incident in the background as well, as if you're a fan of Tobias Harvey, he's unfortunately had a moment out there, and he also collected Ben Summers, so that's an F2 championship implications out there for the drivers today. Sure, we'll get a chance to look later, but look at these 3 all together, and other battles still happening. Seb Tixier, he has tried to catch on to Olsen and Trengarade, and he has, and Trengarade just can't get on the throttle. I reckon he's got a little bit of an issue with that setup, because he's been really struggling here. Now we've got some more V8 VR drivers with the H-pad, and Seb Tixier going to try to look for a move, and he's even got a motion ring round the outside of 5. Almost, but again, these corners, they've got a little bit of camber. It's not going to work for him. Sets himself up, but look at it. He's caught these two pretty well. Took half a second away from them last lap, and this is the moment. Just a bit too much speed being carried on by that driver, and that's Ben Summers just going over. I know the Foo Fighters are looking for a new drummer, but I don't think Ben Summers or Tobias is looking to learning how to fly at the moment. They'll be just hoping to keep their feet on the ground. Go back to the battle with Olsen, Trengerade, and Tixier. See what you can look for here. You set yourself up through the corners. You've got to set yourself up. Really, you set yourself up at 10 to make a move into 11 with just as much the speed goes here. More VR drivers, and it's what you always love to see. You don't need VR. You don't need an H pattern, as you can see. Glenn's not using an H pattern. I don't use an H pattern. I don't have an H pattern. But you can use whatever you want. You don't even need a VR set. Use one monitor if you want, as he's trying to battle on in that number 14 car for 13th position. Can he find a way around Benjamin Zoko? He's got Josephine Becker as well ahead. Gonna be tough to look for opportunities, but faster last time than Soko. Not faster than Becker though, so these three all tied up together. Just looking for a moment. Report Eric Essery unfortunately has collected a DQ flag in the background. He'll go down the order. Valenteus still looking for opportunities, and this is what I was saying. If you can set yourself up here through 10, you might be able to look for a move into 11. It's not happening here. So now you look to set yourself up for turn 2, because remember, the little kink here is turn 1, just after the start-finish line. Here's turn 1, and you're breaking down in the middle of turn 1 to get into turn 2. And Valente is just looking, he's not going to try to do this around the outside. He's had a bit of a slide, a Skip Barber-like slide. I think he was trying to look for an over-under, then hesitated, second-guessed himself, and decided he may want to try and do an outside here, but nothing to boot at the moment. And they're starting to lose a bit of time here. Nieva with a 22.9 last time by. Nicholas Kolke was a 22.9 as well. Claris with a 22.6. He's catching up as well. So if he can't find a way by, it's weird to say this, and I have to say it. We're going to use the champagne bottle, the cork in the champagne bottle here. Nieva's not doing it on purpose, but if Valenteus can't get past Nieva, we may just have the rest of the field start bunching up. So we'll keep an eye on those lap times as we come later into this race, because we're a third of the way through this race so far. The top 7 are basically the same 7 that started. I say that, John Olsen's just gone around in there he goes. He's gone around at the corkscrew. Valenteus is going to look for a move here. He's had to take the outside line to try and set this up, because Nieva did not have that good line. A slide, because he had to take that inside. Caught on the curve. They're going to go side by side to start lap 9. And this might be all she wrote, as Valenteus will try and take this inside to hold and take the position. Nieva's going to try to do this around the outside. It's not going to work. It is oh so tough there. Rugen tried to cut him off. Was nothing there. And that's an important move, because you start to see on the timing tower, number 4 is starting to close up. And the question is, if number 4 starts to close up, can Valenteus start to open up here? We know what he's like. We know the pedigree of the driver. He used to be a 9K driver for a reason. I think he might be able to do it this time. So without jinxing anything, the top 5 are all the same 5 drivers that started in the top 5, with the exception of Valenteus up 3 places, Clary down 2 places, and of course if Valenteus is leading, that means Jorge Nieva, who started the race on pole, he's down 1 position as we're on board with Kevin Marugan, as we have been for the entirety of that hill climb. Just watching, and he sees that these two stop battling side by side, or just sees an opportunity, and he goes, let me just get a little bit closer. Let me get a little bit closer. And he's unable to do that at the moment, so he will hold on. But look right behind. That's not a lap car. That is Mick Claridge trying to catch. There he is, just going over the crest of the hill for turn 1 down into turn 2. And he is trying to catch. He didn't have the best of times last time over Valenteus, but he's catching the Ava and Rugen, so a podium could be on. You see Ben Fransoko, oh, he had that moment. He spun it. Looks like he just clipped the gravel, trying to take the inside line there, and unfortunately losing the rear of the car. He went away. He's gone down to 14th position, but this is important because, again, the Ava is a fast driver, But the pace Valenteis has put on is vital, and we may still need to use that cork in the champagne bottle moment, because Claridge is catching. And where does Verbruggen look for a move here? Verbruggen can't catch up to Nieva because Nieva's using Valenteis to catch up to him. So this could be very interesting later in the race. More debris kicked up there on the racing line of the corkscrew. Not a lot they can do. They'll have to just drive over it. They'll get the debris flag. I bring it up so much because when you do a practice around here, you do some practice races we keep on board with Jason Chapman now. He goes past his brother, Kurt Clapper, or his family member, sorry, Kurt Clapper. I wouldn't say it's team orders, but I don't think you really want to upset your family member in a race as Gary Ho following them. And this might almost be a Ferrari, give me the DRS, or we might be losing out here as he gets on by Kurt Clapper, and Gary Ho goes up on this recovery. -6 for the day, so not a bad recovery. As I was saying about that debris refresh, it's an important point to mention about the debris refresh here is you go to a practice session, any series, if there's a practice session for any series at this track, and you're going to experience a lot of debris, a lot of gravel kicked up and thrown all over the track at the corkscrew, as drivers just try to hone in and nail down that optimal line they want. So it's going to be, it's really interesting, especially with these cars, because you want to get on the throttle early once you hit that dip. Go a bit too late, you start spinning those tires up on the debris. So it's going to be very interesting. I do see that people in the chat saying, well, there is a way to beat Valenteis. It's just go slow in the corners. And I think that's what Nieva was doing. He might have been the cork in the bottle to try and just bring more drivers into this fight. Kind of worked, but unfortunately, Valenteis has now got that second gap. Just. So Nieva's going to have the tail end of the slipstream. That's not helpful for him. Now he realizes he's not getting that slipstream. He realizes he's on a little bit of defense. Well, I mean, when Valenteis puts in a 22.237, it goes to say that's faster than his qualifying lap. That's a tenth faster than his qualifying lap. It just goes to show. So he really is starting to wind it up and find that extra gear in the saddle. He goes on watching Verbruggen in the background. You might see on the timing tower over Trengarade and Sebastian Tixier having a little bit of a scrap as they go side by side. Out of 4, up they go into 5, and Trengarade's got the inside as Tixier managed to make the move into 4 but could not hold it. So they're going to go side by side up into 5, and they might even go side by side into 6. Talked about the incident in the real world IMSA last weekend. No issues here as Tixier gives the space to Trengarade, and Trengarade makes it move. Seb's going to take that right side there just to see if he can look for a move. He couldn't turn in time. Going to lose a lot of time there trying to make that move, but he is catching. Seb is really starting to just cause issues for Trengarade. Had battles elsewhere before, but now you start to see. I mean, it's nice we get the back view. Usually when we get the cameras, remember, if you're on our broadcast, you can provide your camera so we can see what you're doing. Usually drivers show us their faces. We get to see the emotion. Can't really see the emotion here, but you can see the focus he's giving right now, and he's feeling every bump, every slide, everything with that motion rig. He looks for the move. Can he be the better of the late breakers here for the Andretti hairpin? Trengarade had to give him the respect, though, and he's gone wide, and that is going to give Tixier the move, and I wonder if that was Seb probably cooking it a bit too much. Trengarade giving him the respect, but Tixier gave the respect to him last lap as they went up to turn 6. Just got to applaud that. Drivers keeping it safe. So, Mick, you lost a couple of positions to start the race. You managed to get back to P4. You're starting to really catch up now, but you realize the top 3 are quite spread out. You're going to have to get past Verbruggen quick if you want to try and catch up to Nieva. So what have you got to offer? And in fact, I think Verbruggen just had a bit of a moment there, but we're getting back to this battle. Mosley trying to find way. He's lost a lot of time here. He's now lost 3 positions. There's 2 positions so far. There's actually 3. Clapper, Soko, Ho, all getting past him. And these 4 just keep on battling. I wonder if that was a mistake from Matthew, or if he actually did lose out there. In fact, it was just a case of he lost out there. He almost went 3 wide. Yeah, he went 3 wide into the run-in for turn 4. And this man is going to go 3 wide. He'll take it 2 by 2. and he'll come in. Brilliant. And again, Verruga tries the over-under. But again, double apex corners the Andretti hairpin. It is oh so tough to make that move. And Claridge back up to P3, which he was in for all of a corner to start the race after he lost P2 going into turn 2. He's got to find 2 seconds now to try and capture Hurricane Nieva. It's going to be tough. They are halfway through the race, or less than more than halfway through the race. We're at 14. 25 as we get back on board with Gary Ho. Another driver with VR. What is it? Sorry. It's been a while since I've done the 49s. What is it with everyone with their VR headsets nowadays? Is the future VR? I don't know, but I know the future for Gary. He's got 14th and maybe 13th in his future. As he looks to try and catch up. And again, kind of want to just look for the opportunities a corner ahead around here with these medium speed corners. Try and set yourself up, not here at turn 5. Get a good run out of turn 6 in a minute, up the Rahal straight. See if he does that. Has to brake a little bit earlier, gets on the throttle, a little bit of a slide. Shows that he was just getting hot on that throttle, but he can't catch up yet. Name of the game is to keep up with Jason, and then we keep up with Benjamin Soko. Doing a good job at the moment. And then if Benjamin goes a bit wide there through 10, might be able to set yourself up through 11, and that's what he's looking for right now. Doesn't get the best of apexes there. You want to kind of kiss that red curb on the inside of 10. Keeps it close here, though. And don't know if Benjamin's going to get the slipstream. He might have to go on the defense here. Is Ho going to try and look to make a late braking move here like Tixier did? I can't see it this time. He's putting his car there, but he knows he's not going to make that move. So reset, reload, recharge. And that's the name of the game for Gary Ho today. The more they battle, the more Jason Clapper will start to pull back in. If you're on Jason Clapper watch, we all know that he likes to start from the back of the field. Plus 14 for the day is the man called Jason, as Thomas Tuba decides to go side by side with Michael Grissener. And Grissener holds onto it and lost a lot of time there because Thomas had a better speed through that corner. And he doesn't have that ability. Say that ability. Who has the ability to go around the outside of turn 3 and turn 4 to make an overtake? No one's got that ability, really. As Tuba looks on. Can't make that move go. Here's an overtake, though, finally. Set yourself up, Gary. You did what I said. Get a really nice run out of 6. And it's just all he needed. Got that run out of 6. Soko had to defend. Not a lot he could do. And that is Gary Ho getting past quick as he could. Got to find 1.3 seconds if he wants to catch up to Jason Clapper. Clapper's 3.5 seconds behind Glenn Becker and well, the two Beckers, Josephine and Glenn, up ahead. So, going to be one to keep an eye out. Gary not able to do anything here. There's the Becker battle. Two Beckers all fighting. Josephine and Glenn. Josephine at the front, Glenn at the back. I'm pretty sure no relation, but they might correct me there. No, there's no relation to them. Don't worry. I would be bad. I would apologize if there was a relation and I got it wrong, but no relation to these as Josephine goes a little bit wide out of 5, and that will give it. No, Josephine, hold on to it. Ooh, holds on to it. Good save. Now you got to find that reverse. Reverse back onto the track, and this is oh so scary because got to reverse where the racing line is. I'm going to be losing more position, more time. Comes out in 19th. Good save, though. Using the gravel as well, but almost touching the barrier. Getting a little bit squirrely on the throttle. Unfortunate there for Josephine. Becker. We haven't talked a lot about Ove Trengerade for a bit after Tixier got past him, but unable to really make waves is Tixier. Trengerade holds onto the back there. You look at their lap times, and Seb's not had the best of lap times. It was a 22.9 last time. Trengerade did a 22.547. He went green, his fastest lap of the race. Right on the back, and now he's got that climb in. He wouldn't have seen it, but everyone knows now that this setup here, 6 down to the corkscrew at 7, 8, and 8A, as they call it on the official map, is the way to go. And he had actually done that. And look at that. Tixier had to go on the defense right away. And Ove doesn't even try to send this side by side. Just decides to wait. And they do have a spun lap car just beside them. Mats Linden, who keeps the car just nice and safe in the corner there for him. And for them, no harm, no foul. This is your closest battle on the track at the moment. Valenteus, well, he's hunting that 21-second lap, which again, he's already gone 3/10 faster than what he did in qualifying. He's really started to gel with this car. See Tringrade again looking down, and you see this is that spin Mads Linden had, and yeah, you know what? That looks like, you can see the gravel kicking up. That looks like he got on the throttle late, as I said earlier. Got on the throttle late. Tried to get on that throttle during the gravel, which Tringrade had to slide. And that was what happened on that gravel, on that debris. Hit the throttle. Gonna spin. Right, we go from one clapper to another, though. Back we go. Sanjeet Bandri, or that was Sanjeet Bandri, who just has a bit of a lock-up going into the corner there. And misses out, and Kurt goes back to 17th. Started 17th on the day. Had a small moment earlier in the race, and recovering. Not a bad recovery, back to 17th. And 2.5 seconds ahead is Zabala, so anything can happen there. There's Zabala just up ahead. Do have 8 laps to go, so still some time. And Valenteus, they call him the alien of vintage racing for a reason, because his fastest lap was a 1:22.027, and he just did a 1:22.070. Talk about consistency there. 500ths between the two of them. The 2 laps, sorry. So that is some very good consistency. As you can see on that GSRC timing tower, Mick Claridge not able to make headwind on Jorge Nieva. I do apologize there. He's just matching. In fact, they're all matching now. You look at the lap times of second to third, and Nieva did a 22.217. Claridge did a 22.344. Verbruggen did a 22.303. So they're all now just bunched together as Valenteus continue on down with the blue and yellow colored livery. The livery colors that he's been running on practically everything he runs nowadays. Thomas Tuber, again, another victim of the corkscrew. And again, there's that gravel with this power. Remember, there's no wing, so you've got nothing to keep that car bolted to the floor. When you get on that throttle, hit that throttle, will start spinning, you lose the grip. You've got to feather the throttle in these cars. He's done his best. They all do their best. This is such a tough car. This really is. I always say this, if you've got a list of cars on iRacing, Lotus 49 would be the hardest car to drive on iRacing. I would say that, because look at it. You've got no wing. You've got no downforce. You've got an engine that is absolutely too powerful. Your wheels that are old and they're grooved tires, but you cannot put the throttle down. You've got an H pattern. Even if you use flappy paddles, you've still got that in the sim. It's an H pattern. You've got to blip. Even if you use auto blip, you've got to blip. So you can't shotgun down the gears, as I like to say, and go do 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 do. You've got to be careful. If you're experienced, you might be able to go down 2 gears at one time, but you've got to be careful here. So you've got to just basically rub your belly and pat your head at the same time. And I can't even do that as I'm just saying that right now. That'd be me trying to do 3 things, telling you all what I'm trying to do and what they're trying to do out there. So not possible is that for sure. Valenteus goes by. That's a lap car there. That's Havani getting away with Jorge Nieva, but this is Kevin Verbruggen. He's been catching up to Mick Claridge. Let's see what he can do. Nothing here. Did not get the best run, but Ove Tringrade gets the best of runs. And Tixier has to go on the defense here. And again, Ove, a bit too hot with the throttle there. Probably got the lead foot. And Tixier goes a little bit defensive, goes to the middle of the track, cuts into turn 1 pretty early, which is actually good. Got back to the racing line, basically, for the Andretti hairpin. real good little bit of defense there as Tringerade looks on, but look at the time. 5 to go. I say look at the time. Look at the laps to go. Look at the counter. 5 to go. I'm really trying to find an opportunity out here today after losing that time. Where do you look for a time? Where do you look for an overtake? You've got to look at the corkscrew once again, haven't you? 2 hot points of overtaking today, the corkscrew and the Andretti hairpin. He's not getting the run he wants here, and that's the problem with Tringerade. Trengarade's been having this problem the last few laps. He's quicker after the corkscrew down to the start-finish line, but he just takes it. He's too quick. If that's the analogy. He's too quick because he can't utilize that speed once he gets to the final corner. It might happen here. This time, as he left himself a bit of room, yeah, he's actually backing himself off a little bit there through turn 10. He'll set himself up here through 11. Let's just see if he gets this gone. Again, a little bit of a slide. A little bit more patient with the throttle. That may help him, but Tixier better on the feathering there. And again, Tixier goes for the defense. Tringerade, nowhere to go. And well, you saw it with Sandy earlier when we were looking at Kurt Clapper. Try and late break yourself here for the Andretti hairpin, and you're going to lock up. You're going to try and struggle to find the gear, and you're just going to find yourself going a bit too wide. So Tringerade needs to just keep it calm, and 4 to go. No time to panic. No time to panic. There's still a lot of time out there. Same could be said here for Josephine. Trying to make... It's crazy to say Josephine's making a recovery. 8 places gained on the first lap. Even with that spin, still +2 for the day. But what could have been? And now in this battle with Kurt Clapper and Michał Zavala. Zavala, the car in the front. And they don't have a lot of time left. And if you really want to try and get that 16th, you've got to get past Kurt Clapper pretty quickly. If you're Becker, it's not going to happen this time by. Wait to see. And I'll tell you what, I'm also looking at that timing tower because 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are a second and a half between the 3 of them. So that will be an interesting battle later. But let's just see if there's going to be a move out of this corner. No, I think Becker just clipped the red curb a little bit there. So nothing to report there. But like I said, as they go into the corkscrew very tight, almost coming together. Down the hill they go. Becker using that gravel once again. Some real good runs here through 10, or through 9, sorry, now into 10. Maybe looking at an overtaking opportunity here into 11. Gets the speed down, the defense is there. And I think there's nothing to write home about yet. It's squeaky bum time, though, for these 3, and it's squeaky bum time for Nieva. He goes up that hill and takes on the corkscrew once again, because look at this. Mick Claridge right on the back of him. Verbruggen just waiting to pick up the pieces. And with 2.5 to go, or 2.25 to go, 2 1/8 to go. Mark it all down. I'm not doing 11ths because that's not a real fraction. Now time to go on. And Claridge, he wants that P2 back. Nieva wants to try and hold on to this. He's not had the best of races. We've had a good race, but he could not compete with the man called Valenteus. And Claridge is hunting him down. Not a lot he can do, but 2 to go. They'll get the call of 2 to go. Claridge looking for the over-under. The expert here of Claridge, the expertise of Claridge is the right word. Nothing yet. You're not missing much with that battle here. Actually, I say you're not missing much. Here is Josephine Becker. Goes for 1 overtake, gets it done. And then a little bit of a lock-up there. Just gets 2 in 1 in just a lot of time there. And that was Becker getting past them as they needed to do. Up to 16th position there. Battles everywhere on the field, which is always good to see. That's what can Claridge do? Not a lot, but they do have Donald Peak up ahead. There he is. A lapped car up ahead. Probably will just pull over to the side when they get the blue flag. Remember, blue flag is optional. It's not mandatory. But some of these drivers, they do like to make sure they see the battle up ahead or they see a leader up ahead. They don't want to get in the way. Claridge has not had a good turn 10. Can't set himself up here for 11. And he's almost got the Tringerade problem. Just too much speed too quickly By the way, Trengate still can't get past Tixier, but Barney has waved a white flag. 5 seconds ahead of them is Valenteus. So that's not much to worry about here as we get ready for the grandstand finish. Claridge goes a bit too wide into the Andretti hairpin once again. As he looks on for this position, you know he wants it for Bruggen. It's just waiting. Greatest show, the greatest seat is right there in 4th position right now is Verbruggen. He's watching this battle and he's just hoping for a little bit of divine intervention out there. He may get it. You never know. He may get it. He may not get it. What's important right now is he just sticks with these two. And that is what he is doing. Claridge needs a good turn 6. Up the Rahal straight he goes. It's good, but he's going to have to wait for the final few corners, I feel, because this is not a good enough gap for him. There is another lap car up ahead. It won't be interfering with them. Valenteus has got past that lap car as well. As down they go. But Verbruggen may have had a small moment there, but he's still there. Claridge holding on. 5 seconds ahead of these guys is Valenteus. Valenteus just has one more corner to go. And it is still no one can stop him. He takes the victory once again. One of the worst qualifying efforts he's had all season. He gets the victory, and Nieva holds off the late surge from Mick Claridge. Verbruggen will have to settle for 4th. But a fantastic little finish there, and you've got to feel if you're Mick there, you got to feel could have had that there for a moment. Just unfortunate there. Nicola Koki will take that P5. Seb Tixier holds off a late surge from Trengerade. I'll tell you, a very interesting moment as well. Josephine Becker losing a position and goes a bit too hot and collects everybody. They all come around. A bit of a moment here. Zabler gets ahead. Becker may have some steering damage. Clapper gets on by. Now you got to look at Sanjeev Bandari as well, who may get past this position as well. It's going to be a little bit of a wounded finish here. I don't think Becker's got anything to give as Kurt has the speed and has a cleaner car. Zabler will get that 15th, 16th, sorry, as Kurt Clapper will come ahead. Oh, Soko as well, though. Sorry, Soko's had a moment at the end of the race there. Blown engine does get on by as Clapper comes on. The last driver's there. Just one more driver to come. There we go. And let's get the results down to end the day. Because like I said, it was Valenteus. 4th position he started. He was up to 1st in no time as he takes the victory. Jorge Nieva will be home in 2nd, just fending off that late surge from Mick Claridge and Kevin Verbruggen. And Nicola Koki will take 5th, with Seb Tixier up 3 positions to 8th. Ove Trengerade finishes in 7th. John Olsen was 8th. Aku Liski was 9th, and Robert Plumley was 10th. Glenn Becker will take 11th, and Jason Clapper, if you got your sweepstakes, plus 15 for the day in 12th. Gary Ho will finish in 13th, with Benjamin Soko 14th. Matthew Mosley will take 15th, and Mikhail Zabler, as we just saw, was 16th, with Kurt Clapper 17th, and Josephine Becker still plus 2 for the day, but what could have been, finishes in 18th, with Sanjeev Bandari in 19th. Michael Gissinger will finish in 20th. Last man on the same lap as well was Krishna. These drivers were a lap down. Thomas Tuber in 21st, Donald Peake in 22nd, Thomas Willerhausen will be 23rd, Ben Summers will be 24th off of that flying moment earlier in the race, with Mats Linden 25th. And it's Peter Gibson 2 laps down in 26th. Rowdy Wallbank also had a moment earlier in the race, had to take repairs. He will be 2 laps down in 27th. Then your retirees, Tobias Harney will be 28th. Eric Gasari will be 29th after a DQ. Terra Vita will be 30th. And Arturus Kundalis, first retiree, in 31st position. Well, we do have time for some interviews. Of course we do. And we do have with us P2 for the day. Pole position driver. It's P2 for Jorge Nieva. And I've got to ask, what does it take to beat Valenteus?
I can't hear you, sorry.
Okay, do we have Jorge? Jorge, sorry. I do apologize. Do we have Jorge Nieva? Hello there.
Hello, now I hear you. Sorry.
Now you hear me. Sorry. I was asking the question because it was tough. How do you stop Valenteus? Because you held him off for a few laps, but he was once again just too quick for everybody today.
Yeah, I think he was almost half a second faster than everybody else. Maybe Mick could have been close to him, but sorry, it was a matter of time for him to pass me. I tried to protect the T1, but in the end, he always finds a way to pass.
Yeah, Laguna is a tough track for overtaking. You do have those couple corners there, and it looked like at the end of the race, it was a little bit scary for you at the end because Mick Claridge and Kevin Verbruggen right on the back there. Did you feel threatened because it looked like you had it under control as Mick couldn't find a way round?
Well, Mick sometimes is a bit too aggressive. I think he had a couple of incidents with Idrius during the week, so I was a bit afraid of him, but I know he always plays fair, and I was more scared from the lapped cars. I had some situation with two of them that really scared me off, but nothing happened, so I'm glad. I'm happy.
Well, he's got to be happy with a second place, even in that field, and it's your first second place for a couple of weeks. Puts you very nicely in the standings. Next week, it's Motegi. It's a not very popular track. What are we going to expect there from you from Motegi? A bit more of an open track.
I've been at Motegi a couple of times. I think it's a great track with some chicanes and maybe not much opportunity to overtake, if I recall correct. But anyway, all tracks are beautiful, so we all have fun, of course. I'm pretty sure.
We'll have fun. All tracks are beautiful, and I do love that track. Okay, is there anybody you would like to give a shout out for before we let you go for the day?
Well, I hope that my friend Aitor can join us next week. He bought the car yesterday and he didn't want to drive today, but I really would like him coming at Motegi next week, so I hope so. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nieva. By the way, I do know he has the track, so yeah, I think we'd like to see him there. The Jorge Nieva, who came home in second today. Thank you very much once again. And if we've had P2, we might as well have P3, who started second on the grid. And it's Mick Claridge with me. And talk me through those first few laps, Mick, because from P2 all the way down, I think it was P5, it was not the best of starts today.
Yeah, it was a bit of netcode. We just looked at it back, had a bit of netcode, but I think I was a bit too tight. I was a bit surprised that Kevin was there. I didn't really look in the mirrors. I was sort of concentrating on what was in front of me, really. So I did actually try and turn into the apex. so sorry, Kevin, for that. So we can call that one my fault. But yeah, after that, mate, I'll tell you, it's just been a week of frustration because I've just been melting the tyres. Every time I go out and race, I've been melting the tyres. And they're horrible. I just really don't get on with them. You know, you melt them. You know, it used to be the case if you melted the tyres, you'd slow down for a couple of corners and then they'd come back. Not anymore. You know, you have to really hold back. And I've been struggling all week from the Sunday host last week, you know, from then till now. I just thought, I wonder what my Bathurst setup's like at this track. Bang, the car woke up. And there you go. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think at its hottest, it got to about 45 Celsius, 110 Fahrenheit out there today. So, yeah, I can imagine it was getting really hot out there, but the recovery drive was fantastic out there. And it felt like once you started to gel at the end of the race, it almost felt you may have held onto the tires better than the Ava, but did you feel like you would have had him if you had a couple more laps?
I don't think so. He's a little bit quicker than me this week here. There was I can't remember what I was going to say now. There was overtaking Nick down the inside into turn one, that was crazy because that was just on a line that I hadn't tried all week. You know, I always try and think to myself, you know, right, try all these different lines, you know, in case you're going to need them. And yeah, that was bizarre. So I didn't really fancy trying that on Jorge either, or George as we call him. So yeah, no, George was quick this week. I mean, look at his qualifying lap, Jesus.
I mean, I didn't say that out loud, but I think that was what a lot of people said when we saw that qualifying lap, because that came out of nowhere, finding that time. But we go, as I was saying to him earlier, we go to Motegi next week. A bit of a wider track, a bit more of a high-speed track. What are we expecting? Because you are almost the master of this car, you know, from previous years. I know you.
Oh, you guys!
Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. What really are we expecting here? Because especially with Motegi, should be a little bit colder, no?
Yeah, it should be a little bit colder, so it'll help me out because I'm having real trouble. Me and Nick Koch are having real trouble like unmelting these tyres, you know, when they go. So so hopefully it's a bit colder and we get a bit of grip, and we can keep up with people a bit better.
Well, I'm pretty sure you won't be baking in the seat in the United Kingdom today or next week, so don't worry about that. Mick, any shout out before we let you go today?
Yeah, I want to shout out to my girlfriend Emma. She's not watching, and all the other people that are watching, and the Mackenzie boys. Don't mess with the Mackenzie boys, Craig.
I've messed up people's names today. I'm not going to mess up anybody else. I'm not going to deal with anybody else. Mick Claridge, who comes home in a P3 today. Thank you very much, Mick. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Cheers, mate. See ya.
We do have time. I think we've got time really for one more driver, and it's only fair because he had some really good battles out there today. Sebastian Tixier, who finishes 6th today, up 3 places. And it's safe to say, Seb, you had some tight battles with Ove Trengaray today.
Yeah, so some light came to say hello. Totally messed up my qualification. I did a 360 lap quad turn 1, so but when I saw the grid, I was near Ove and John. I knew that I was going to have a fun race, and that's what I had. So shout out to Ove, a really good battle, really fun.
Now we know you're a VR user, and we have had a few other VR users show their setup and their racing today. And one thing I've caught, and I've got to ask you, how much are you cranking your head to look at the corkscrew? Because we saw some of the drivers really shove their head to the left to find the apex. It looks like very uncomfortable in a VR setup.
Actually, it's very, very natural, like you're in a real car, especially with the motion. The motion lean a bit, and I also lean a bit. And for me, it's the best, especially for like city tracks where you have to be close to the walls. I think in VR is the best because you are in 3D, so you know exactly the distance to the wall, like you are in a real car. So especially in the open wheeler, it's even better. And I can't race on a pancake like flat cake monitor anymore. It's just flat, and I can't see the track. I can't feel the speed. So no problem at all.
I must admit, I've got a curved monitor. Everyone tells me to try the VR, and I've just seen you all today. And we're seeing you in the rig right now at the moment. We can see you just there, and you've just got the feel. Yeah, the other way to the camera. It just goes to show as well. There you are. It just goes to show just how much turning you get, and it's just so much fun. And do we expect to see more close battles with you with Ove next week at Twin Ring Motegi?
Well, depend if I manage to qualify correctly. Last week I managed to qualify nicely, but I got crashed in turn 1. So it's like every time I qualify correctly, I guess something happened to me, and when I qualify not correctly, I have a good battle. So maybe I should just do like a clapper and start from the back. I don't know. Motegi is a racetrack I really like. Before I always been fast, but this season I don't do much practice, so I don't know what will be my bet. But if I'm with Ove and John to have a good battle, it's going to be fun.
Well, Seb, thank you very much for coming in. It was good to see you having those battles. Really gave a good show for the fans. We look forward to seeing you next week, and for all that, have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Sebastian Tixier there, who finished in 6th for the day. And that will do it for the broadcast today. So I want to give a thanks once again to Christian providing the cameras, and Dougie Beard as well, providing those cameras that he uses, and always helpful there. So, of course, this is the Genesis Extreme production for Global Sim Racing channel as per usual. If you like what you see, do hit that thumbs up button and do hit the subscribe button. You don't really want to miss this weekend of racing, because we do have more races coming this weekend, especially later today. The IMSA Vintage Series goes to Spa. I was just there last week, so that will be interesting to see what happens there. And then in the morning, the Skip Barbers will go to, or the morning for the UK, will go to Summit Point Raceway, and then live on the iRacing channel, and of course here on GSRC, the Classic Lotus Grand Prix will go to Mugello. And then we start the next week with the Porsche Owners Club at Willow Springs. So what a week, what a few days even of racing we have to give you. And as I was saying though, next week, not Willow Springs, it's Motegi. It's almost the same because there's a resort there, Hot Springs Resort. You see where I'm coming? Motegi is a track everybody loves, and if you want to watch that, you will see why they love it. It's going to produce a lot of fast-flowing action in any car. And most notably, these cars are going to enjoy it. So until then, though, this has been one race that Valente has needed. The perfect season is still on. We have to keep drilling that into people because we don't see it much. An alien only comes down onto the Earth once every 70 years, they say. A perfect season? Well, that's even rarer. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.